The preseason is saturated with a lot of games and a lot of different lineups in a short period of time, it seems. And then there's all that other teaching stuff. Like, how prepared do you feel this team is, and is it reaching your timeline as you enter the first game of the season?
Well, I think that what the preseason does, it allows for opportunities, right? So you have the established NHL veteran players that it's their opportunity to work at their game, fine-tune their game, get their game where they need it to be at the start of the regular season. It's also opportunity for younger players to make impressions. From a team side of things, those 8 games that we played in the preseason allowed us as a coaching staff to monitor where the team game was at, how some of the things that we wanted implemented were looking in live fire game action against another team. So where are we? We're pleased with the amount of work that was put in. We thought we got a lot of things done. We've worked hard to prepare for the test, but the race begins in earnest tomorrow when we begin our NHL regular season.
You've been here before, sort of,
Yep.
as an assistant coach, but your first game as a head coach.
I actually was here, even though I was the assistant coach. I was here.
So
I was physically here.
how does it feel to be prepared a night before or day before your first season opener as a head coach?
Yeah, it feels very natural to me. This is what I feel most comfortable doing, in making sure that you're helping your team get ready for the rigors of an 82-game schedule. It's my first time leading an NHL team in game 1 of a regular season schedule as the head coach, but I've had experience in the American Hockey League, and I've had experience at the National League as an assistant. So I feel like I'm in the spot I'm supposed to be in. I'm pleased with the amount of work that we put in during the preseason, and now it's about opening the gate and letting the players go.
Jay,
Yep.
your team is expected to be able to score enough goals to be a legit contender this year. Are you going to be able to defend well enough to be a team that can, win 2-1 games in April, May, and June?
Well, we're about to take that test. And, I think down the stretch last year, I thought we played some important games that were those type of games that you're describing, the 1-0 and the 2-1 games. I thought we took strides. We've worked on some things in the preseason here to help equip us to win those types of games in the regular season. What I think is important is making sure that your players have the necessary tools to be successful in any type of game. Win different types of games. But ultimately, we know that as the schedule narrows, the scores come down, and you got to be able to defend at a certain level. And we put in some good work here over the last month or so.
Is it a personnel thing, or is it getting whatever personnel you have to think the same way?
It's kind of chicken and the egg, I think. For us, I like where our mindset is at as a group, especially led by our top players, with our commitment to working back to our own end. I thought we took great strides last year in that regard. I think there's some things that we can continue to fine-tune or refine in the defensive end. It's something that we're going to work at earnestly through the 82-game schedule. And as I said earlier, I think we put a lot of good work in over the last month or so, and now it's time to take the test.
Jay, Connor mentioned how, the big input you had last year was the backtrack, and it came in, and the team really improved their 5-on-5. He said your message has been to play with pace in camp. You really want to play with pace. What's the biggest emphasis of pace in the D zone? How do you play with pace best in the defensive zone?
Well, I think we want to be a really good team in the D zone. We just don't want to be there a lot. So the more pace we can break the puck out with, the better it is for us. The quicker we are to close and shut down cycles, the better it is for us. I'm going to go back to it. I thought we made some strides here during camp, but we're ready to take the test. We'll see.
And your internal competition, specifically really in your top 9 this year, you seem to have 10 guys who could be top 9 forwards. How healthy is that competition, and how often do you see that kind of changing and mixing pieces in and out because of it?
There might be some guys that think there's 12 guys that can all be top 9 forwards. I think it's healthy when there's competition, for sure. I think it pushes people to be their best.
Jay, what have you learned about Jack Campbell in the last month or so that maybe you didn't know about him as you learned about him here?
Yeah, I thought, I think probably his personality stands out. I had heard that about him. I'd seen him in his interviews in the past. I'd talked to him on the phone, but until you're around him, you see that someone who really radiates positive energy. But what most people don't get to see is the work that he puts in. He's a true worker, serious about being the best that he can be. And I think that also rubs off on his teammates. And so I've been impressed with him. He's put a lot of hard work in to be ready for the beginning of our season. I know he's excited about it.
Sometimes goaltenders have the reputation of being different cats, right? They're lone wolves, or they do their own thing or whatever.
Yeah.
Jack doesn't seem that way at all. Is that, I don't know, unsettling almost as for goal?
That might be odd in itself, right? Like for the position. I think, he's a popular teammate. It seems to me that people really enjoy being around him. And, I've said this or used this term before, but I think when a group of players want to play for their goalie, I think that's a little bit of a competitive advantage rather than having to play with somebody. And to me, the way Jack is as a person inspires people to play for him.
He's only played a couple of 3 preseason games, I guess. But have you been able to kind of notice a difference in the way he approaches a game day versus a non-game day, or is he?
Not yet. I haven't picked up on any of the differences. I just see someone who enjoys coming to the rink and who is pretty serious about it as well.
And Jay, you have Barry with Kulak the last few days again. They were very good for you together in the playoffs. Is that just a continuation? What is it that you like about those two as a group?
I would start out by saying I think it's a work in progress. We're not committed to being, locked in on any type of forward grouping or D pairing. What do I like about those two? I think they have a little bit of history together. You have an offensive-minded puck mover who really took a step towards the end of the year last year, paired with an elite skater who's a good defender who also gets his shot through from the point.
Do you have any update on Kyler Yamamoto, who was on part of practice, but do you have a sense he will be able to play tomorrow?
I don't know. I haven't talked to our training staff after practice here, but I take it as a good sign that he was out there with the full group, and I thought it was a good practice today.
And Jason Demers was released from a PTO, but still on the ice. What can you kind of tell us maybe about his?
Yeah, and I think Ken put this out there, but I think he's going to end up signing a PTO down in Bakersfield. And, Jason, I thought, had a really good camp. Obviously, he's a true pro. He's played almost 700 games, and that could be some real good depth for us, certainly with the team in Bakersfield, but it's a good opportunity for him to continue playing at a high level and hopefully impress to one day be part of the Oilers depth as well.
Jay over here. So obviously you guys are really tight to the cap, and it's sort of impacting everything that you can do, how many players you can have, who you can have. Is that something that you can kind of deal with because you're at home for 6 games? Does something have to give at some point?
Yeah, really good question. It's all stuff that I'm learning at this level as well. But I would expect to see some roster maneuvering here over the next while. I think that's just part and parcel. I don't think we're the only team in this kind of situation right now. So we're gonna. I've used the term light on our feet. We're gonna be light on our feet. We are. We're gonna be ready to respond based on whatever the circumstances are with the people that we have available to us. But I would expect some roster maneuvering for a while.
And just lastly, on your power play, are you at the point now where you've seen these guys for long enough that you just assume they're going to be top 2 or 3 in the league?
No, I don't assume anything. I don't think we're entitled to anything. Special teams wise, power play, penalty kill, I don't think we're entitled to anything team wise. And that is the one thing that we've put a lot of time in here over the last 3.5 weeks is understanding that we begin the race with 31 other teams. In fact, there's some teams that are starting their season tonight. There's some teams that have already started their season over in Europe. But we're not entitled to anything. Our focus is going to be on coming to the rink tomorrow with an energy, a focus, and an intensity about us to make sure that we're ready to play the Vancouver Canucks tomorrow night on opening night for us.